Hello, my name is Megan. I'm a fifth year student here, studying graphic design, minoring in entrepreneurship and photography. And I did my project with Margarita. And I really did it, I focused on working with a friend or a client in this case, who is named is Leah Cardarelli. Um, and at the beginning of quarantine, she had started this Instagram, and it kind of went through her postings of what she worked out or the workouts that she did each day. And she went to Michigan University where she studied movement science. She was a member of the field hockey team there. So athletics and working out has really been a huge part of her life. Um, and so she created this Instagram and she would post the post or post the workouts, and she really kind of got a lot of people supporting her and interested in joining her with these workouts. And to a point where it started with just Leah to she had like 15 to 20 kids showing up to kind of join her during these workouts. And so while I was seeing these posts on Instagram, I kind of reached out because I really saw a potential that Leah, if she wanted to, could expand her brand or into her Instagram into a brand. Um, so I reached out to her asking if she would be interested in building this out, and she was absolutely on board. She was ecstatic that I had reached out to her. Um, so in all, the Lifestyle by Leah is a community of young adults who challenge each other during group fitness workouts that are led by Leah. The workouts usually consist of body weight exercises as well as running, whether that was on a track or hills. Um, and the overall purpose of Leah's brand is really to create a community of dedicated people who want to stay in shape. They love sweating, they love the gasping and feeling for that burning sensation that they get in their legs, all with a big old smile on their face. And they really want to keep their friends and family accountable because a lot of the members so far are Leah's closest friends and Leah's family members. So they're keeping them accountable and kind of not making excuses when it comes to fitness and working out. And so when I'm going through, um, I'm going to kind of walk you through the process of how I created this brand for her. And we worked together. And when I sat down with Leah, I kind of asked her let's go through the tone, mood, and like feeling that you really want to grasp with your brand. And the first two words, she was like, "Well, they're intense, but like fun." I was like, "Okay, well, we'll expand a little bit on that." Um, so we came up with this tone of intensity, yet fun, challenging, a sense of community. And to grasp the mood, every morning at 6:30 a.m., they were so excited. Music was blasting. They had such high energy, and they were extremely welcoming. And they just wanted to get things done. They were very competitive, took on those challenges. And then the feeling in the end was exhaustion, but feeling accomplished and proud of what they had done with each other together. Um, and so to the right, we kind of paired, working together, we kind of paired colors that related to those feelings and emotions that Leah wanted to capture with her brand. And we first came up with the black and red, but we felt that they were a little too intense. And so I took a turn and added a little tone of off red and a gray to kind of make it more less intense and more fun as well. And then looking at the typography, so I also wanted to look at grasping that intensity, but also having a more delicate feel as well. So the primary typeface focuses on that intense and bold feeling that Leah wanted, and the secondary typeface really relates to that more fun, more relaxed, delicate style that we were going for. And join the one. So this outline effect is something that I bring farther into other designs as well throughout the brand. But the phrase "join the ones" really started the very first time Leah got a group together. She sent this like robot text that was like, "Join, send one if you want to join Leah at 6:30 in the morning on Thursday, or send two if you don't." And it's actually a way that she's kept track of who's coming and who's not since then. And it's been, I think, a couple months now, July that she started, that she still sends these texts. So it's kind of a phrase that we've kept from the beginning of Leah's journey here. And then with the logo, it's really gone on a long journey. Margarita can attest to that. But at first, I was really trying to capture like the whole essence of the brand. And when talking with Margarita, she was like, "You different aspects of there's a formula, and different aspects need to add up to the overall brand." And so the different aspects are like photography, illustrations, which I talk about, the website, maybe the social media assets, all these different things are what equal Lifestyle by Leah. And so I really started with creating these complex logos that included a lot of different things, which was like maybe equipment or this idea of movement, motion, running. Um, and then I kind of took a step back and looked at the inspiration that Leah had sent to me that she enjoyed or that she liked. And I really focused on just the typeface and maybe playing around with the two L's or if I wanted adding like a little something else. And so I sent Leah a series with this with a little track image in the middle. But in the end, she just enjoyed this logo the best. Um, so that's kind of how we got here. And then she also wanted a second logo to kind of represent, in her words, the beginning of an era. Um, in the brand guidelines, I make it very specific that this logo is to only be used for special occasions and featured items because we did not want the having two logos just in case. So we kind of have that as a secondary as well. And I'm going to run through the different aspects of the brand that I created for her. The first focus is the photography. And I went with the black and white, partially because I think it fit the intensity aspect. And it also allowed the viewers, to really focus on what was going on in the photos. Um, so when I was photographing, I was really looking for taking pictures of the exercises so that people knew what to expect, their body language, emotions, facial expressions, gestures, to kind of really grasp at the environment or the atmosphere that would be created at these workouts. Um, and I really feel like these really captured that. And later on, we talked about bringing in more of the brand aspect. So we added like a pop of color in some of the different photos. For these examples, they're more specific on the apparel. So they would more so be used for on the website or promotional aspects if Leah wanted to post on social media about the long sleeves coming in. Um, but in the guidelines, I kind of wrote that the pop of color should kind of either be the equipment used or maybe the environment, the apparel, depending on what the designer really wanted the focus to be on in each photo. And then some of the illustrations that I brought in as well. All of these assets are kind of on the social media designs that I've created, but each illustration represents something in terms of the exercises. So this rope aspect really kind of I added with the circuits. Track was more for the when they were running or what track workouts, depending on because she had different types of running workouts. Um, and then we kind of talked about exercises and how I could show the exercises. And when I was in elementary school, I learned how to draw human figures through these oval shapes. And I really like remembered that, and I was like, oh, that's a great way of simplifying movement and simplifying the exercises that speaks to the viewer of just what the exercises were and the movement that I talk about. Um, so I created these illustrations and kind of spoke about that the designer can create more if they want to explore other exercises, or Leah brings in other exercises. But these are used throughout social media ads as well, or social media posts. Left side's like a Instagram post, and the right side's kind of a story that she could have. Um, and I really wanted the illustrations, and I kind of brought that into the text as well later on. So, looking at the social media, I broke down a lot of guidelines in the book that kind of speak about the logo, the patterns in the background, the texture, the language, as well as the size of text, etc., and broke that down throughout the book for future designers if Leah plans to build even more. Um, and then some examples of the social media assets that I created for her. Different ones. Here's an example of bringing in that line, diagrams, and illustrations as well. And kind of speaking on being able to bring in more that fun aspect on the right side with like the smiley face, like just cr- having that atmosphere created in the designs as well. And this is an example of Leah, one of Leah's posts. She usually did a series, a carousel that included the time, the exercises, and in the end, a group photo, because the community aspect was a really big part of this brand, and all the inside jokes that they had, and how they kept each other accountable, and the competitiveness. And then the more promotional social media assets that I created kind of ties in with that, with the photos and bringing in the text outline, the text treatment that I talked about earlier, and having that pop of color. These are more so, like I said, for promotional and ads if Leah wanted to promote the apparel that she has. Almost there, circuit four. I go through and I create some apparel for her, and this was a big thing that Leah wanted, um, and that the group was looking forward to. So I created a set of t-shirts, long sleeves, crew necks, water bottles, stickers, hats, etc. For Leah, and this is how they look on the website. Um, and I'll actually now go through. That leads me to the website here that I was able to make for Leah. And talking with her, we kind of wanted it to be simple, straightforward, just have the necessary things. So we have the about page that just talks about how it was created, who Leah is, kind of like what gives her the right to take charge of these workouts. She has the degree. She has been an athlete her whole life. And it always leads to the sign up, which is where Leah wants to have people sign up. Um, so they'll have the activities lined up. The user can go, click which day works best, hit that sign up sheet, and then it sends them to where you can input their information. And this information will then be sent to Leah so that she can create a list of how many people will be showing up, and kind of the expectations of the equipment she should bring, and where maybe they could go, if they can go on the track or they should go to a park. Um, and then it also has the shop with all the apparel and all the things that I made for her. And this is all built out so that people can add it right there to their cart, um, and check out as well. So this is all set up for Leah. And then we also have this workouts aspect for anyone who maybe missed a workout, or they're just looking for something to do on their own at a different time, they're able to go to this page and click the download and have a PDF version of what I made for her. And this can be great for just having on your phone, and also something that they can print out um, later on. And that is it.
Thank you, Megan. I think I just have more of a few comments before we open it up to questions. One, this was an incredible amount of work. I mean, I'm a non-designer, but just looking at everything that went into this is amazing. One comment from my end is I actually loved the figure drawings that you did. I love that like, it seems so simple, but I mean, I'm not an athletic person at all, but as someone who's like trying to do squats and not be all bent over, it's the alignment and the illustration of it was such a great idea. Like, just seeing those is like, oh, that's what it's supposed to look like. It's such a great idea, but the amount of work that you put into this is incredible. And
thank you very much.
yeah, it looks really great. Do we have any questions in the chat, or anyone who wants to unmute and ask a question?
I will, thanks. I think this is really terrific. I wonder what you think you learn the most by working so intensively with one person like this. I mean, as such an amazing project, right? To really be thinking about one person's perspective and creating such a comprehensive approach to the brand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was actually, it was very difficult at some points. Leah kind of gave me full creative freedom at some points, because she was like, I don't have any background in this, so like you just take handle of it. And I felt at first I was like, well, this is like your design, like your brand, like so really I learned kind of like with Margarita can attest to this, when the correct time to show Leah the assets, or understanding what Leah was like trying to create, was something that I found I could understand. And I think knowing Leah and growing up with her was what made this easier, because if she couldn't put it into words, she could be like, I don't know, and I'm like, okay, I know what you're talking about, because I've been to these workouts. I understand exactly what you're talking about. Um, and this was the first time I've really worked with a client and worked with someone who has had the idea. So it was very hard at sometimes, but it was definitely a learning process. And it was very fun as well.
I'm in the waiting room.
Does anyone else have any questions? Oh, Margarita.
Hi. It's more an observation. I think that Megan really had to work hard to make sure she understood the story that Leah was trying to tell, but she was the one with the suggestion of making this a business from the beginning. So it wasn't just this branding exercise, but also thinking about how it could be, it needed to incorporate the startup mentality too. And this sort of like micro community, it was one of the main marketing angles of this little enterprise. So I think that she brought that thinking from the beginning, and really shaping it through the design was a challenge, and something that Leah could not give her the answers to. Like, that was Megan. She was the one that really had to give Leah that vision. So I just want to, compliment you on that, because I think that that's really hard to help someone, not just with a brand, but a business plan.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just say it's really interesting to think about how that might translate with another client that you don't know. So like thinking about what you had to do with her and how much the shaping of what's supposed to be a design project is really the shaping of the vision.
Mhm.
and you know, right, how much of that really is the shaping of the vision, how much confidence that would give you in another context, and knowing when to check in, and then thinking about, you know, what does that mean? You don't know a client as well,
Yeah.
and you know, thinking about what that, yeah, it seems really interesting as a sort of learning experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, great. Thank you, Megan.
All
Thank you
right,
for
thank
presenting
you.
all of your work on this.
Thank you, everyone.